Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
She certainly is somebody that gives you insight, information, answers questions, gives clarity. So great to have her back here. She is a psychic medium, and she intrigues me. She's interesting, comes up with these things out of nowhere, and then you validate them, and it's coming from the other side. Usually that's where she's getting it from, I do believe. And she is the perfect Rose. Her name is Rose. She's back with us. Hey, how are you today?
Hi, Steve. I'm good. I'm
Welcome
excited
back.
about to see how it's all going to play out this time. Every time we have an experience together, there's something kind of spirity in it. So let's see what happens today.
Yeah. You never know what's going to happen. And I always say that whenever we get together with a medium like yourself, it's, I just throw it to the universe and what happens. Great to see what's going to unfold today. Last time we talked, it's been a while. It's been a few months since we got together. Where did we leave off the last time we talked?
Well, so initially how we started was we had talked about the show previous, and I do feel that sometimes whatever's happening between you and I is divinely orchestrated because there are spans of time in between. But there was the one show, my first show with you, and then there were two shows that were closer to each other because I felt unfinished with the second one. So I pushed that one to be a little bit sooner, and because in the second one I had gotten intuitively that a vacation might be the next thing that would be on your list. But we ended up talking about that in that show. And there's always been a bit goosies happening with you and I because your mom's spirit and all that fun stuff. So I
It's
wanted to
crazy,
find
the
out what's
connections.
going
Like it. Well, to
on.
reset here, your name is Rose. You show up. I don't schedule this. I just come in and I'm on. And my mom's name is Rose. She passed 6 years ago. Then we come to learn that we are both Virgos. And there's other connections going on there. Last we got together, you talked about a vacation, and I was working on it, setting it up. I have a friend that's got an Airbnb in the Caribbean. He's just working there, and it didn't take place yet, but there's something came up that we had to press the pause button on that. But I am going. I just talked to him yesterday, so you're right on that. And what else did we talk about? Do you recall?
Well, we ended up talking a little bit about how I do my readings, and and then we also talked about the fact that there was I decided to play with some cards actually, and then ended up and then at first I was making some jokes about getting laid actually because it showed my humor. I do have a sense of humor, so I'm warning whoever wants to work with me, but
That makes you
but
you.
but it ended up that I made some suggestions about a relationship that because you had mentioned something I think it was in the previous show, and I was just trying to explain a little bit about what cord cutting could really be, and it doesn't necessarily mean you have to kick the person fully to the curb, right?
So let
So,
me
and
address that. Let me address that.
go ahead.
And that gave me clarity to kind of readjust the relationship. So, and let me hold on. I'm thinking back to it was the last time. It was just after we talked. Now that I'm remembering it very clearly, and that relationship still is intact, but without the label of what are we? And that was the answer. It's the same as it was, but there's no pressure, no label, anything on it. Um, and that was the clarity I got from you, and that was right around that time. Now that I'm thinking back, the time frame, how weird, or not? What?
Well, yeah, I wanted to find out about that because I could feel that I was concerned because this is where people can get a little bit confused when it comes to chords. It was just like that idea of letting go. Like sometimes, like, because we did get the letting go card. And I remember when my spiritual teacher would say to me sometimes, she goes, well, you got to let it go. I said, listen, it's such a big piece of me. I don't even know what I need to let go of because it's maybe something that's just such a big piece of me, right? You know what I mean? Like, so how am I supposed to know do I need to let go of if it just seems normal to me? That's what I thought
Mm.
letting go was. Like I thought letting go sometimes is like you totally have to kick everything out of your life, right? But what I realized what letting go is sometimes letting go how you're looking at it because it can't change as long as you keep looking at it like it was all messed up. You see, sometimes letting go isn't always totally disconnecting a person or a situation from your life. It's just if you keep looking at it, the crappy version of it, it's going to stay crappy, right? So does that sort of make sense? So when
Yeah.
you let it go, you're cutting the cord saying, I'm not sure if I want to play that game anymore. But hey, if you want to play in my reality, I wouldn't mind it being this way.
Well, we've talked about cord cutting, and it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't, letting go is the perception of many is just disconnecting completely. Doesn't have to be that way. There could be different forms of releasing. You could be deeply connected and you cut that cord. You do cord cuttings, right?
I do, yes, I do. Because, but we see, this is, I'm not going to lie. I remember the first time I did cord cutting, I was really concerned because I think sometimes a little bit of our self-worth is tied to some of these roles. You get what I'm trying to say?
100%.
You get a little bit tied into this, and eventually you find out that could be from childhood. You could find, this and that or whatever. But really, like the cord cutting that we're intentionally doing or intending to do is only fear-based cords. It's the cords that pull you off because of their insecurities, or they feel they're a bit needy. And actually, I actually added some to whatever my teacher taught me. I added extra support with my cord cutting. I connect them to God. I connect them to and myself too, because if I have so I had some fear around it, but when I finally did it, I realized that loving connection is still there. You're just disconnecting from the fear-based energies that are kind of sucking you back and forth and not necessarily having you behave from a whole place instead of guilt or obligation, right? So it's just stopping those patterns of that relationship being built on your job is to fulfill my needs. To I'm just here and I'm in your life and you're just here and you're in my life and hopefully we contribute to each other's lives in a pretty decent way instead of whatever we've been conditioned to believe is a relationship is supposed to be with all those lists.
And the cord, letting it go doesn't even have to be about a relationship. It could be about anything. And I believe you're spot on that we have these attachments for other reasons than the obvious. So let's say somebody knows that they should leave a certain job. It just doesn't make sense anymore. Let's say it's time to move on. Maybe they're still connected to it because it's their identity. Same thing in a relationship. Somebody may think that, well, I can't, I know I shouldn't be in this relationship, but I have to hang on to it because fear of being alone, fear of your identity. Like we're a couple. What will I be by my solo? And that there's many different reasons. We haven't explained for anybody that's just checking this out what a chord is. Energetic chords. There are tons, hundreds, thousands, right?
Well, and the key element is especially you know, if you have sex with someone, it's easier to be corded to each other because you have intertwined your energies, right? But according to some of my spiritual teachings, though, too, first of all, too, like if you have some old abuse or like some weaker parts in your aura, sometimes cords can latch onto you in those areas too. Like people will just get intuitively that you're a little bit soft in an area or weak in an area. Like I say, I don't even know if people do it intentionally. I think it's more of an unconscious, subconscious thing that's happening, but a good portion of that, I really believe in my heart, plays out from childhood, upbringing, programs. We are electromagnetic beings, right?
Yep.
So you aren't just that body. We have layers in our energy field, and we have chakras and energy centers. And I'm going to be out there a little bit with this one. One of my spiritual teachers said in the higher realms, where they don't have form, how they actually interact with each other is they become one with each other. So for us on Earth, there are various ways for that to happen, like you and I having a conversation right now. On some level, we're mixing our energies, and then it's just learning. Sometimes it's a positive exchange, and sometimes it's an imbalanced exchange. And this is where we have to be a little bit careful because I don't know about you, but this eventually you find out this work is about busting limiting thoughts. Um, That's what I've really come to know. And I could really have a lot of peace about a lot of different things. But if I sit with a client for a few hours who has a lot of fear, like a lot of fear around certain issues and stuff like that, it might take me a little while to disconnect from being sitting in that programming that they have, unless I complete properly with energy work or something like that. Did you ever like hang out with somebody who had a lot of fear that you didn't have, and then after you hang out with them, you're kind of got to shake it off? We're called shake it off.
Yeah. Yeah. Funny you should say that. I'm going to be honest with this. I always am. Lately, shake it off, right? Lately, I've been finding myself shaking off energy, and I don't even know I'm doing it until I catch myself. So I could be in the car, I could be thinking about something. Maybe I left a meeting, whatever, and I'll be in the car and I'll be like, for a second, I don't know if I'm the only one that does that, and maybe you think I'm a little out there now, but I will feel myself needing like, all right, literally shaking it off, like shaking just for, and I look at my dog when he comes from the outside to the inside, and I used to think that dogs would shake their fur for a second because maybe the wind has, a position of the fur and everything when he comes in. No, he's transitioning from one area to another, and he's shaking off the previous energy, i.e., the energy from outside to the inside. So I'm totally right there with the shaking off the energy. Whatever you got to do just to move it to the side, if you will, or get it out of the way, transition from one moment to another.
Well, the truth of the matter is now you're helping me remember something. I did tell this story just recently in something where I just been sharing, I've been sharing a little bit more of my work publicly, just trying to find my people. I do know that I came to Earth to assist, but I also feel like what I also have come to realize is I'm not necessarily like, I've considered myself more of a higher self guide. Truthfully, what I mean by that is, at a certain point in my journey, I did come in contact with that. This was possible in this lifetime to use this lifetime to evolve to your highest potential if you chose to do that. And I did make a conscious decision to do that. I guess what I'm trying to say is, so what I mean by that is, some of us, our higher self kind of just looks over top of us and kind of just, we think about it as external and it's just kind of, but it gives us answers from time to time, or you go to somebody else, or maybe go into a hypnosis state, like with Dolores Cannon's quantum healing hypnosis therapy. Like I did take that modality, but you have to go into a slightly altered state of consciousness to kind of go there, so it's not necessarily, but what I've really realized my work is I my desire for myself was to be more my higher self looking through these eyes. So I've been chipping away all the programming that kind of made me, so I'm still Roseanne Kulyk, but I, got more of my higher self looking through these eyes while I'm having these experiences. But I'm doing it from a conscious place and not like, like some people are, they're channels, but half of them, they're talking somebody else's voice. You get what I'm trying to say? Um, I get anyway. Long story short is I just wanted to share that, but giving that background, but it reminded of one of my spiritual teachers. The reason why I'm saying that is years ago he told a story about how these people were sharing, like someone had overdosed or something like that, and they were in a public environment, and they didn't realize, but they left that energy. They just left it there. And this other woman, because he's a clairvoyant, he could
Uh,
see outside. This other woman walked into that energy, and it stuck on her, and it actually stuck on her. And he said it looked like she gained 10 pounds by having it, running into that energy. Because I worked at a casino for years. And I'll tell you, when I was at that casino, I would worry about money. Meanwhile, we were making good coin. And I realized the reason why I'm worrying about money is because I'm at a casino. People are losing money all the time. I'm in their energy. When I would
wow.
take a week off from work, I wasn't worried about money, but I'd be in the casino. And the whole time I was in there, we were all worried about money. Meanwhile, at that time, we were busy. We were making so much money. Not a lot, but, decent, decent. You know what I'm trying to say? I,
But it wasn't
I
even
would
about the casino. It was about the people in the casino. Jeez.
walking through their energy. They're losing money. Let's face it. Like, that's a beautiful establishment. But let's face it, it isn't beautiful because of the fact that they're giving out money. It's beautiful because a lot less given and a lot more taken. You know what
Yeah,
I'm trying to
yeah,
say?
yeah. But you
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 know,
feel the angst, the anxiety of the people going there because they're thinking about losing money. Wow. You know, you think about the time they say we are the sum of the five people we spend the most time with. So if you think of their energy, what they've got going on, and then look at your life, you may see some parallels, some connections there to their situation energetically, right?
Well, so the reason why I'm saying that is, when we talk about the shaking off part, I know that there is, someone that I watched that is more of a channel, and she had a shake because of the fact she said that's how animals disconnect after they have a fight. Like they say, for example, like they're getting chased, right? They're getting chased by another animal, and then after they save themselves because let's fit is a predatory kind of thing, they'll go shake it off to disconnect from that experience so they can move forward, right? So I do believe in my heart that is a big piece of what we're working on doing is reminding ourselves that we're energetic beings having this human experience instead of what we've been conditioned to believe. The sad part is we probably their whole thing has kind of been built half on a lie, right? So you know what I mean? We were kind of just kind of made an agreement to like experience disconnection to see if we would become reconnected. So our natural response is to actually kind of believe the lies more than the truth. So it takes a while to get done. I know I'm saying that it's pretty out there, but this is what I've come to know anyhow. So I wish I wasn't such an advanced student because it would be easier for me to BS my way through things. But unfortunately, I had such conviction to learn more.
Almost everybody I've ever connected with that does what you do, or call it in the wellness arena, metaphysics, they have an appetite to learn more. They're always looking to learn more. You know, it's almost like an addiction. You feel it?
Well, I'm at a point though, I got to the point where I learned, but I do think we do come here to learn, you know what I mean? But also to share the wisdom that we have. And I also believe those of us who've committed to serve sometimes might have different experiences thrown at us for us to transcend them because of the people that we're meant to work with. You see what I'm trying to say? So that's how the universe sends me different clients after I have an experience and I move past it so that I can guide them through it. See, the difference between our work and what we were conditioned a lot in this society, we had priests that were telling us how to handle marriages. Like, really? Do they have any life experience to do that? So I think a lot of us souls that came during this time intentionally subjected ourselves to being immersed in, we'll call it the poop of life, and move past it so we can say, hey, I figured it out. I'm not sure if it's perfect for you, but I'll give you advice on how I did it, and maybe it'll help you. That's what I feel like we really agreed to do.
Wow. Do you ever surprise yourself? Like when you do a reading and validation comes back and everything lines up like you thought it would. Does that surprise you? Or after all these years, you're just like, "Eh, great, there's another one. Yeah, that's what I do."
Well, sometimes I need to do that to just for myself. So there's pieces where I like that. What is that?
Hmm.
But then there's some pieces where I'm not sure if I really like what I'm knowing. You see what I'm trying to say? Like sometimes it's like sometimes you don't always necessarily want to be right, So I guess what I'm trying to say, I know that I shared that, with something just recently. I had gotten guidance that there could be some loss during the holiday during Easter, and for people to tell these people that they love them because every time there's a big energetic shift, sometimes souls choose to check out. And then I got guided to watch. Like I don't do normal stuff. Like I'll do a little bit of news, but it's my choice when it happens. And I went to the library and there was this movie Conclave. And I didn't even know that it existed, but it was just absolutely beautiful. I know we got to go soon because you've got other people to serve, I'm assuming. But
Okay.
it ended up that I watched this movie and I guess it had wonderful awards and I thought the timing of it was just amazing and because I was raised with Roman Catholic religion, so but at the same time because of my spiritual beliefs I can also immerse myself in something and kind of see it, the whole, and the roles that people play and the agreements that they have and just all the ritualistic things. And then, of course, I can also look at a movie and see the costumes and I can appreciate all aspects of it because I did take fashion design years ago. So there's that part of me that loves the creative part of things and the acting. And so I decided to share it on Facebook, this amazing movie. about a pope dying and them, getting together. And this is ends up being before the pope died. So that was where my guidance kind of made that suggestion. I got guided to that movie. I didn't even know it existed. It was, I guess, released in 2024 or something like that. Got awards and all this stuff. I didn't even know. And then after that, the Pope in our world would die, and there would be a conclave. At least I knew what that word meant. I didn't even know what that word meant prior to
Wow.
that.
I just learned that today. I've heard the word before. And there was a convention, not even religiously connected, called the Conclave. I think it's media connected. And I've heard about that movie. And it wasn't
It's a
even
beautiful
not
movie.
even I heard about it just before the Pope did pass. We've got about a minute or two. You've done this in the past. Do you want to pull some cards?
What do I want to do today? Do I want to pull cards, or was there something else important that I wanted to use our time for?
I know you've done that before, and
I
interesting
know.
insight coming from it.
Well, to be honest with you, one of the ones that I don't have it with me. I don't have that deck with me. Well, let's do a unicorn. Let's see what the unicorns have to say. The unicorns are magic. Let's do a little bit of magic. Want to do some magic? Let's do that. I think right now, what my heart says, what I if anyone is out there in the world, it's very important right now to realize that you are the authority in your life, and to not necessarily give our power away to as long as we believe there's someone bigger than us making all of our decisions, we're going to be giving our power away to, sometimes people go down rabbit holes on this spiritual journey, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and go, oh, those guys, the people in power, them. As
Hmm.
long as you believe they have more power over you, then they have more power over you.
Who
You
does?
understand?
Who? I'll make sure I heard that clear.
Anybody, like, as long as you believe whoever those theys are, the big guy, the rich people, the all the does, all the president,
So
my
you're saying
president.
if you feel they have more power over you, they do.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
Right? Because you are the own authority. So as long as you keep thinking them, it's like, wait a second here.
They win.
You,
They win.
you exactly. You are a powerful spiritual being. And one of the things I've shared recently, one soul choosing to grow can totally alter this universe. That's how powerful each one of us are. And we are equal. We are just playing different roles. That's one of the things I really learned at the casino when I was working at the casino.
Yeah,
One of the things I
the other
really
day
learned.
I was having this thought in my mind, and all of a sudden on my playlist, I think it might have been satellite radio, a song came on, never heard it before, called Step Into Your Power. And it's by Ray LaMontagne, sort of like a jazzy, progressive rock kind of guy. I don't, I couldn't even name one song from him. I've heard of his name. Oh, I can name this song because it came on, but it's almost as if it came on at that moment for a reason. Step into your power. So if you believe others are more powerful than you, then they are, and they are. Step into your
Exactly.
power. Got
So
about
this
30
this is the
seconds
card.
left. What do we got
This
today?
is so basically the card that jumped out is about caring community. But I really feel that what I've been guided to share with people is we are meant to go into community as whole beings, how we can contribute to a community, not to get filled. We're like, where we're all kind of striving for the best for all, but we're coming with our strengths instead of, the same idea with whatever you experience with your relationship. And they're encouraging to open to abundance, that the unicorns are just saying, and opening to our abundance is a lot to do with our energy field, just, trusting and allowing things to happen and invoking the law of grace. And what's nice about the law of grace is, guess what? It kind of says, we'll kind of fix it up a little bit for you. So just hand it over. We're going to hand it. The unicorns want to hand things over to same idea like letting go almost, but using a spiritual law, a law of grace, to do that. So, anyways, my name is Rose, and my business is called The Perfect Rose, www.theperfectrose.ca. And my email address is rose@theperfectrose.ca. And my phone number is 905-526-9694.
Always
Thank you.
wonderful talking with you. One thing
Lots of loves.
is for sure, I'm not going to have to shake off this energy because it's good.
Oh, thanks, sweetie. Yeah, I always enjoy my time with you.
Same,
Thank you so
same.
much.
And you're accurate, give clarity on a lot of things that we deal with, and it starts with a conversation. The Perfect Rose, that's what you are, theperfectrose.ca. Thanks for being here today.
That's sweet.
Appreciate it.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.